If you're looking for best practices for your bank or credit union, join us while we talk all things sales, marketing, and strategy for financial institutions. Let's make it happen with FiGrow Solutions.
Hi there, I'm Meredith Olmstead, CEO and founder of FiGrow Solutions. We are a digital marketing and sales consulting agency. We work exclusively with credit unions and community banks. I am here with Rebecca Gwaltney. Rebecca is one of our inbound marketing. She's our manager. She is our strategist. She's one of our strategists, but she really runs all of our implementation behind the scenes for all of our clients. And Rebecca really knows all the things that we get wrong really for clients, and we get right, but that a lot of our clients, we're kind of going back and fixing for clients. So say hi, Rebecca.
Hey everybody, excited to be here today.
So Rebecca put together, we were talking about some of our recent website maintenance issues that we've been running into with some of our clients. And I was like, hey, Rebecca, why don't we hit record on this? Because this makes sense, because she's constantly running into some of the things that after we have created great websites for clients, that over time, sometimes we're asked to come back in and maintain those websites for clients. And then we also have clients who come in and we haven't maybe built their website, or their websites have been maintained elsewhere, or they were built by somebody else. And we kind of come in to help clean up messes for them. And so she put together a list of what she sees sometimes are some critical website maintenance mistakes that we seem to see over time after a new website launches, or after they've kind of taken over, after a client or after a credit union or a bank has taken over a new website and things have kind of gone sideways. So we're going to talk about 6 of those kind of website maintenance issues that sometimes we see that can go wrong after a new website launches. So Rebecca, let's go ahead and start. What's the first one that you sometimes see we often, now these are things that are easy to, or that can be easy, hopefully, to avoid if you have either a good partner that you're working with who helps you avoid these mistakes, or you set up a good process internally to make sure you don't make these mistakes. So what's the first thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first one is homepage message drift. So while it can sound confusing, I understand the full effort that not only the client goes through to get a website up and running with all the teams, all the different compliance teams, the imagery, the text. There's so much going on. As soon as you launch the web page, you take an exhale and you're like, we are done. But homepage message drift is one of the most common things. It's set up, it's done, and forgotten because it's not technically a product page. So we have some opportunities. Make sure you can set a calendar even to help you out. We want some seasonal promotions. So obviously, you know, when HELOCs are more popular, auto loans, mortgages, but create a rotating schedule that your staff can follow. So there's less of an overwhelmed feeling to keep it fresh. So, you know, at least quarterly or more often, you'll have imagery and messages that are up to date. Re-promote your content. For me, this is a big one. So we help a lot with ebooks or other content that our clients create. Once you launch a new website, or even over time, your branding tends to either add a couple more elements that stand out, or the website could have a complete rebranding. So make sure all your content, ebooks are also updated, even your email campaigns, right? So we need to make sure that we re-promote ebooks and really put that brand through all the different elements. And the last one that we have talked about before is smart content. So you have your homepage, but make sure you utilize your data and update it, whether they visited other pages based on age, location, if you have many branches throughout the state. There's a lot that you can do to keep it refreshed.
Yeah. So the idea is that when you say homepage drift, content drift, is that it just basically stays stagnant. So sometimes you'll see somebody launch a new website, and then 6 months later, you'll go back to that website and legit the same exact content will be on the website's homepage. And you're like, what happened? Like, no.
That's a powerful page.
Yeah, you have to update that homepage. The other thing that we did notice, so you were saying that Kristen, one of our strategists, was pulling some content, or was pulling, some results from the smart content, and was saying that we were seeing roughly a 30 to 40% lift in click-throughs and submissions when you're using smart content. So if somebody had recently been on like an auto loan page, and then they came to the homepage and you showed them auto loan content at the beginning of that, or at the top of the homepage, instead of whatever the default content was, they were like 30 to 40% more likely to click through on that content. So it's a huge win really to take the time to set up, 5 or 6 different pieces of smart rotating content around high priority products, based on recent behavior of known contacts.
Yes, yeah. And this is great for homepage, but all product pages
Yeah.
too. So, hey, we already know you have your auto loan, get your next auto loan with us. That same
Yeah.
increase, same bump.
Or
So it's throughout the
refinance
site.
something. Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Yeah.
So what's the second thing? I know you were when we're talking about outdated content, it's not just about outdated content on your homepage.
Right. Yep. So this is a big one. So it is exactly what you said. It's outdated product and rate information. So again, it's a set it and forget it mentality. Whether it's promotional banners that are forgotten, disclosures that haven't been updated, um, all your loan pages, products change and morph. You can get more in depth on that information. If you're not updating your website regularly with more like valuable information for your members or customers, other banks and credit unions will be, and that will make you appear less in the search results. So
Yeah,
it's a battle.
it's an issue with domain authority because recency of content is one of the
Mm.
factors that search results, including AI, use to value the quality of content on your website. So you have to be putting new content up on a regular basis because recency shows that content is refreshed. It's current. It's recent.
Right.
And so it's just like the news, So if your last update for your content was 2 years ago, or
Mm.
18 months or whatever, even 6 months, over time, all of those search engines, those bots, those AI crawling, those language learning models are going to realize that, hey, this is not recent content. Let's go find something better.
Right, right. And we do have tricks for everybody. So it is one thing to say, oh, you have to go do this, but now we actually have some practical ways
Yeah.
that we can share with everybody today. So asking your frontline staff what the most frequently asked questions are for the different loan products is huge, and updating them, keeping them fresh. FAQs are a
Yeah.
great way too, right? To show at the top of search results or in AI learning language models, all that kind of stuff. You can, if you're in HubSpot, you can add rate-driven content
Mm-hmm.
within paragraphs or banners. And then one thing I do see, credit unions and small community banks, they're really, really well known for all of their opportunities where they give back and support the local community. But once that page is set up, it's technically not updated as much as it should be. There could be member testimonials, sponsorship opportunities. It could be really fresh and thorough and just really help differentiate them among other banks and credit unions. So that's an opportunity.
Yeah. Putting together a process where you're capturing people's volunteering in a way that makes it front and center. So you're not just walking the walk, but you're talking that talk and really showcasing the impacts, the community impacts that your institution and your people are having on the
Right.
wider community around you. It's a huge differentiator for
Mhm.
your community institution. Absolutely.
Right.
And that's a great way also to bring that the recency of content up and
Yep.
putting it on product pages. There's no reason why you couldn't do that. So
Mhm.
absolutely. Um,
Right.
Okay, broken conversion paths. That's another thing. And this is something interesting too, because there's a lot of this is tricky, right? Because if you can set up a good process or you have a good partner, these are a bit easier, but there's a lot of great tools out there that can also help automate some of this and find these broken conversions or these errors on your website. How do we
Right.
help our clients to find errors like this?
Right. So we do have a product, HRES technically, that we dive into for
Mm-hmm.
some of the back end items. But this one's tricky too, because there are the obvious ones, right? Where there's bots that can scan your site and look for broken links.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, um, let's say your staff is in there creating new pages. They can duplicate forms that were meant for an auto loan page. So now the thank you message does not match with the new website that's been created. Right. So now the thank you messages geared towards an auto loan are now showing up on a personal loan page or
Mm,
maybe a business checking account. So there is some cleanup that needs to happen. And sometimes you can run those systems to help check. But I also think taking the time to go through and double checking those processes yourself, because the more hands
yeah.
that are in the pot, the more issues that can come up.
Yeah, so kind of just secret shopping anything that you're creating and making sure that you're going through all of your conversion paths when you're creating a new landing page or a new sales conversion path, and like kind of taking a fresh set of eyes, or even having like an intern or somebody else who's even
Mhm.
outside of marketing and say, go run a test conversion or a test application and let me know how that goes for you, is a great way to kind of test a conversion path and make sure that it goes well.
Yeah, definitely agree.
All right, a couple more. So that's three of our regular, some of the mistakes we see. What else do you see
Right.
often?
Yep. So stale SEO, we know that this is a huge um, part of new websites with us. So we do all the critical SEO research. We get the pages set up for success. But again, if it's not active, if more sections aren't added, if it's not updated for long tail keywords, which are changing, if local SEO isn't added as time goes on, right? These are areas where when they lack, it affects their search ranking. And backlinks, unfortunately, this isn't something that we can help clients with because it really takes, I don't know, grassroots effort or the local touch, I would say, to build backlinks. Backlinks are very important also for domain authority. The more backlinks you have, the more quality backlinks, which is like a link to your website on other people's websites, right? The
Yeah.
more you can do that, the more valuable your site is. So again, some suggestions for people reaching out to partnerships or sponsors that you work with closely. Maybe you could each share each other website link, press or media coverage, any opportunities you have to share on local resources or community forums that are valuable. You don't want to be linked to a poor quality website necessarily. That would not help you out. But the more that you can network and develop a ways to share your website link
Yeah.
back and forth,
So there's really good
hands-on.
quality like community organizations, those chambers of commerce and
Mhm.
Rotary clubs, and ways that you're actually really getting out there and networking within your local communities and doing really high quality business development. Promoting local community events, which I mean, most credit unions and community banks are already doing, but actually getting
Mhm.
out there and saying, hey, out there on the digital space, can you list us on your website? Can we put our logo on your website? Can we give you a little bit of sponsorship? Maybe you throw in an extra 500 or $1,000 to help them with their website promotion of the event that's coming up. Anything like that to help digitally promote the event as well as promoting it in person is a great way to help with your asset, with your website asset, your website placement online.
Right, right. One more thing too, Meredith. I know when I was with, my past credit union for 13 years, and as all community banks and credit unions, you always have these relationships with organizations serving the underserved in your community. So even if it's not your website link, if it's free calculators, free templates, free budgeting
Hmm.
information, free ebooks, those are other links that can also work.
Yeah, because
So
they
it
come
doesn't
to your
have to
root.
be.
They come to your root URL. So even if it's not coming to your homepage
Right.
and just promoting you as a business, it's still promoting some piece of content or something else that you're sharing. Absolutely. So
Definitely.
blogs, any kind of backlink to any part of your website would be useful. Last couple of things that we also
Mhm.
want to make sure, these are kind of more like housekeeping things for a website that can be very, very detrimental to the speed of your website, to how it loads, and to just like some of the issues around compliance. So first thing, accessibility and compliance spot checks.
Mhm.
And this again is key, can come up with the types of tools and the checks, and just like really figuring out a way where maybe on a quarterly basis you're doing some process or working with a partner that helps you make sure that your ADA compliance and your other kinds of accessibility are still working well with your website. How have you seen that work best for our clients?
I have seen, so we have our clients typically either do a full year, so like a yearly review with certain other companies or organizations. People have done quarterly checks as well. Once those are done, we are a hands-on to be able to help correct some of the issues if they come across them. And it's funny because what happens at launch again is not what they see at month 3, 6, 9, or 12. So
Right.
while we do our best and we are ADA compliant at launch, again, different things change over time and more hands are in the pot. And things need to be edited, updated, and monitored. So
Yeah.
definitely part of the routine maintenance.
Yeah. And there's always human error. So like I know one of the
Mhm.
things, the last thing we talked about is page speed loading, and like as you're adding more and more to your website, it gets slower and slower in terms of how fast it loads, which can then negatively impact your domain authority over time. A lot of that can have to do with the size of images that are being loaded onto your website. So when we build websites, we typically always include the maximum size and the ideal like size that works best for each of the places where you can put an image on your website.
Right.
That helps with human error, right? So that when they go up to, when you go in as a, a staffer at a credit union or a bank, and they want to replace an image, it will show you that the ideal size for the image would be, 250 by 475 or something like that pixels. And it would be no larger than, and it would tell you the file size.
Right.
But there's no one there telling that person individually, making sure that they actually only upload the exact right size and the exact right pixel, image. So they could make a mistake and upload something that's much larger. There are,
Absolutely.
again, ways, some good content management systems will compress for you. They might give you an error if something is too large. But again, you want to make sure that you're kind of running speed checks on pages and on a quarterly basis, and kind of looking for these lagging pages, so that you can go in and maybe pull down and compress or make some of those changes, some of those images, those files smaller, and so you can fix some of those load times.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And HubSpot, we're lucky. We can organize files, organize the image section by size, so we can see what the top 20 largest images are, so we can make edits and update those. Again, it's the more people in your department. So let's say somebody uploads a large image for an email, right? It's not on a website page, but then somebody else uses that image for a blog header or a landing page, right? So things can morph, and whether it's a big size for something, oh, it's not going to affect my website. Now it really is down the road. So just things to keep aware of.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Rebecca. These are great tips. Hopefully this has helped some of you out there when you're thinking about maintaining your website for search and for everything else out there once you get a new website launched. If you're interested in learning more about digital marketing or sales for your credit union or community bank, please visit us at figrow.com. We have lots of other great podcasts, blogs, case studies. So we would love for you to come over and follow us. So otherwise, let's just all get out there and make it happen.